Hey, it's Bradley Butin, the Emperor of Awesome, and welcome to Lunch Break Reviews, your weekly bite-sized breakdown of movies, TVs, and comics. Every Sunday, I take one title, dig into what the internet's saying, and rate the takes using the haterade scale from lemonade to full-blown toxic fandom. Then I'll serve up my own review using the lunch break point system, plot, acting, entertainment, visuals, and rewatchability, and see where I rank with the big guys, IMDb, Letterboxd, and Rotten Tomatoes. So whether it's a masterpiece or microwave trash, I'll help you decide if it's worth packing in your lunch tomorrow. Let's see what's in the brown bag of goodness. There's a few movies that came out, and it was either going to be The Bad Guys 2 or The Naked Gun. Now look, I am a 45-year-old dude, and yes, I grew up on the Naked Gun. So of course I was going to do The Naked Gun. Let's break this down here. I got a synopsis, and then I'm going to go over the creatives and where we might know them from, just so you might be able to make more sense of the movie when we get into the reviews. And so here's a quick synopsis. Only one man has a particular set of skills to lead police squad and save the world. All right, that's a pretty good synopsis, and this is written and directed by Akiva Schaffer. You'll know them from Popstar, wrote that, Saturday Night Live, several episodes, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, as well as directed that one. Dan Greger, who also wrote Chippendales, How I Met Your Mother, with 50 episodes of that, and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Another writer is Doug Mand from Doolittle, the newer version. Chippendale, Pretty Smart, and How I Met Your Mother. Now, the main stars. Here's the top 5 stars from IMDb and where we might know them from. We have Liam Neeson plays Frank Drebin Jr., Kinsey, Schindler's List, The Grey, and The A-Team, and of course many, many more. Pamela Anderson plays Beth Davenport from Showgirl. I haven't seen that yet. I really want to, though. Baywatch, Pamela, Love Story, and Proven. Paul Walter Hauser is Ed Hawken Jr. from I, Tonya, Black Klansman, Richard Jewell, and the Fantastic Four. First Steps, he's more than that one. Just came out. Danny Houston plays Richard Kane, the Constant Gardener, the Aviator, 21 Grams, and yes, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And fifth is CCH Pounder, plays Chief Davis from The Shield, Avatar, The Mortal Instruments, and RoboCop 3 from back in the day. Okay, so there's the creators. Let's go ahead and take a little taste test. Let's see what the critics are saying about this. Joshua Tyler from Giant Freaking Robot says, The Naked Gun is one hell of a joke. It's the funniest movie of the decade. Go have a laugh. Jeff York from the establishing. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna put that. The Establishing Shot says this one is fun, well played, and even charming at times. So some gags flounder. There's always another coming in the mere seconds. To land better, most beneficial is the up for it all Neeson, who knows just how to play it straight and get us laughing. Neely Swanson from Beverly Hills Courier says, The Naked Gun won't be a classic. There's probably only room for one of them on the classic shelf. But it's funny and diverting and definitely worth your time, whether you're 8 or 80. Grace Randolph, Beyond the Trailer, says, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson's commitment to this comedy makes it a joy to watch. Sure, the humor is stupid, but it's also very Naked Gun. And very Family Guy. Cut from the same cloth, fans of Seth MacFarlane animated comedy will also love this. Monty Lee Stormer from MovieRealist.com says, Everyone plays the straight man to Drevin's straight man, creating a circular composition of cerebral clutter. It isn't anything anyone wants to be in the middle of, but it's a fun to watch from the safety of a recliner. All right. And finally, Christopher Lloyd from the film Yap. I picked it because of the name. Yeah. Old school hammy laugh, a minute comedy. timed perfectly for Liam Neeson's career. After tiptoeing up self-parody, he zings himself rather than waiting for somebody else to do it. All right, let's review the reviews. Here's what the internet's got on their tray today. All right, here's my quick little disclaimer. Now it's time to dive into the reviews I picked based on title alone. I haven't read these yet, so we're discovering the drama together. After I read them exactly as they appear, punctuation quirks and all, I'll rate each one on the Haterade scale from lemonade, sweet with a little sour, to classic Haterade, salty and sarcastic too, double shot of dumbass, unhinged and over the top, and on rare occasions, toxic fandom. Where the internet completely loses its lunch, let's crack open the brown bag and see where today's reviews land. Okay, I have from That Monkey. This is a 1 out of 10 and is titled The Naked Dog. This garbage is the reason no one is coming out to the movies. I didn't laugh once and found myself completely bored. This is nothing like the original movie, and Liam Neeson continues to prove his career is over. I never saw an episode of Baywatch or VIP, but Pamela Anderson doesn't appear to have any chance of being taken seriously as an actress based on what I saw here. Anyone and everyone in this movie should be ashamed and concerned for their career, and please spare from any future sequels to this abortion of a reboot. Holy shit. I didn't think anything would be worse than Trump being elected president, but I stand corrected. This movie is the worst thing so far 2025, and I don't see anything topping it. Okay, man. I think you probably could have been a double shot of dumbass until you decided to bring politics into your review. So, man, I am sorry that you can't just check out of everything around you and go see a movie, and you gotta lean into politics. Everybody sucks in politics. You are getting toxic fandom because I say so. Disagree with me if you want. Come at me. All right. Next, I have from Moonspinner 55, a 2 out of 10, and it's titled Representing that thin line between absurdist humor and ridiculousness. Who would have guessed in 1988 that we'd be talking about a Naked Gun reboot in 2025? And without Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy as Lieutenant Frank Drebin and Ed Hawken in director and co-writer Akiva Schaffer's hands, the picture's technology is certainly up to date, though I thought the movie looked drab. The jokes, mostly off-color humor and toilet gags, are perplexing when they're not funny, and the stars themselves seem fatigued. Liam Neeson, 72, when he filmed this, and Paul Walter Hauser are partners on the LA's police squad. They're the sons of Drebin and Hawken, and there's a nice moment of homage early on, before the picture falls apart. Drebin single-handedly brings down bank robbers in this movie's first sequence, but is soon busted down to Collison after an incriminating photo of cops in a hot tub makes the papers. Undeterred, Drebin connects the bank job to a world-renowned tech giant who harbors a mobile device that causes humans to turn violently on each other. The off-on switch reads, "Calm down, calm up." Pamela Anderson is the love interest who assists Drebin and has exactly one funny scene scatting with jazz combo in a nightclub as a ruse. Hauser is nicely cast, but never gets much to do with the emphasis almost solely on Neeson's coffee swiftling Drebin. Neeson looks gaunt, has a dry way with nonsensical line. He's game for anything. Schaefer throws his way, but the brightness, the foolish joy of Zucker original is painfully missing here. 1 star from 5. Okay, cool. And is there anything good in that that I agree with? I thought the humor was pretty good myself. I'll get into that in the lunch break review. But Okay, I'm just gonna go with classic haterade on this one. This is classic. Okay, last review. This is gonna be a long one, so I apologize for that one. This is from Celluloid Junkie, and it's a 3 out of 10, and is titled "There's Nothing to See Here." Warning: spoilers. Where to start with this one? I generally had high-ish hopes for a Seth MacFarlane-produced reboot of The Naked Gun, but Neeson's version of Frank Drebin simply doesn't have the reactionary range of Leslie Nielsen that made everything so iconic. Most of the best laughs in the original film are derived from Neeson's reactions to the carnage, something Neeson can't bring to this reboot. Part of me also wondered whether this style of comedy has moved on and whether it's become outdated for the modern day. But having gone back to rewatch the types of movies that inspired this, Airplane, the original Naked Gun movies, and even Stillness of Hot Shots Part 2, I can safely say that these still have timeless quality. This reboot doesn't. I could draw parallels to remakes of classic other franchises of comedy, such as the Carry On films. In England, the terrible reboot of Carry On Columbus showed that some types of comedy and clearly stale and outdated if rerun precisely as before, but The Naked Gun has always and will always be funny. Its humor is timeless and accessible. I think it was wrong to ignore so much of what made The Naked Gun work in this new version. The remake of Naked Gun should have built on its heritage and then upped the ante, bringing a modern visual flair and a bigger budget, grandiose quality to the deadpan, literal humor of Frank Drebin. It can be bolder, it can pay homage by bringing the very best of the original trilogy and the TV show that preceded it. It could have landed the very best of the past with the modern audience, while it's updating it by introspecting better jokes and more expensive elements of the slapstick. Seth MacFarlane is used to going over the top in his TV shows. I always remember the chicken fight in Family Guy, and he could have had so much fun here. Instead, it feels like his producing gig didn't have much impact on the actual script or direction. If it did, then some of the movie's funniest scenes would have been embellished, such as Mission Impossible spoof with the falling sets, or an AI-controlled car getting hit by bees and balloons. In MacFarlane's world, the car would get hit by balloons and bees as a starter to the main course of snakes, manure, nuns, football club mascots, and anything else to be conjured up. It would be so ridiculous you'd end up busting out laughing for the sheer effort. The film is pretty boring by all accounts, and that's unforgivable for an 80-minute movie that's not packed with jokes. When the humor arrives, it's not a steady flow of amusement like the originals. It comes in fits and bursts, and most of these are covered by the fairly low-key trailer. So there aren't any big surprises. Plot-wise, there isn't much of one, and the lack of imagination on display is amplified by the main bad guy move being directly stolen from Kingsman. What ensures is a pretty basic, low budget and stale in sequence, which fits with the bland, humorless script with the post-credit sequence providing a little more fun and entertainment. Having just rewatched the opening 30 minutes of the original Naked Gun, there is a more intelligent comedy and wordplay, better comedic timing, and an instantly more fun and involving plot that everything this reboot throws at the audience. Depressingly, the remake sometimes attempts to bark back to the original humor, but it turns the creativity and humor down rather than up. At one point, I think the classic questioning scene is going to be replayed. Everyone knows this, where money changes hands between the cop and the informant as they ask each other questions. This movie doesn't even pay homage to that genius. Again, it could have upped the ante here. Maybe instead of money, they offer their possessions or something in lieu of hard cash. This would have been a nice upgrade on the theme. Maybe they both end up in each other's clothes afterwards, and it serves up an ongoing comedy theme. Now, that would have been fun. It would have also been nice to return to classic gems from Police Squad, like The Word on the Street, There is so much funny material to draw upon and make even better, alongside the new comedy. Then it would have felt like a Naked Gun film, and it would have been all the better for it. Instead, this movie is firmly planted in on its time, complete with jokes that name check specific television shows and characters that may become outdated fast. Whether it's Sex and the City or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, referencing these shows doesn't feel right in a Naked Gun movie. It's not as universally accessible as the core material it draws upon. To truly play homage to the nostalgic childhood, the Naked Gun at least needed to draw on what I love and then up the ante. I want to hear the original Police Squad music straight after the opening salvo, complete with ludicrous shots of flashing police car cruising on roller coasters and blasting its way through shopping malls, and a weird choice of creative decision making. The sequence only turned up for the end credits, a somewhat subdued short and less imagining realism of what the original trilogy did, turning up the right to the end to remind you of the greatness it was trying to recreate. Feels somewhat like a metaphor for this movie. Too little too late, in the words of Leslie Nielsen's Frank Drebin, there's nothing to see here. Okay, with that, that was a lot. This person, man, I don't know. I don't know if we watched the same movie, but I'm gonna give this person again number 2, which is some classic haterade, salty, sharp, and maybe a little too confident. Man, this dude wrote a freaking novel on this one. I think that's way too much more thought to be put into this. So here we go. Where's the bad reviews? Do you agree or disagree with the reviews? Were there any points in the reviews you didn't think of? Were the reviews actually valid, or is it just a bunch of like toxicity? All right, now we've heard from the critics. We've heard from the viewers. It's time to put this on the lunch break point system. Lunch break point system is a unique lunch-themed rating system designed to help you decide if a movie or TV show is worth your time. Each title is scored across 5 key categories: plot, acting, entertainment, visuals, and rewatchability, with up to 5 points per category, totaling 25 points. Bonus points can be awarded for standout elements, fog, Oscar worthiness, or deducted for major missteps. Think cringe factor. The final score determines if it's a packet or toss in the trash. Bad lunch can ruin your entire day. Here we go. This is the lunch break point system of The Naked Gun. Okay, the plot here. In my words, it's the same thing as the old Naked Guns. I think they did a great job of revisiting it. The plot device is definitely stolen from the bad guy, the bad tech genius, to make the world go insane, and he's going to come out with a new patient. Okay. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. It's fine. It is what it is. It does what it needs to do. It's nothing great, but you know what? I'm not expecting greatness out of a Naked Gun movie. I'm not expecting an Oscar movie at all. The acting, did they sell it? I think they did. I think that Liam Neeson and I think that Pamela Anderson was fantastic in this. For that, I'm going to give them a 4. Entertainment isn't worth your time. It was worth my time. But I do think that the younger generation isn't going to really get it. I know that I took my 13-year-old daughter to this, and like 30 minutes into the movie, she's like, I'm calling mom. She's going to come get me. I don't care about this. This is dumb. The whole theater's laughing. So with that, I'm going to give this a 3. I think you do have to have a basic knowledge on some of the stuff. The visuals, the eye candy. It had the things that I wanted. I wanted a Weird Al Yankovic cameo. I got it. I wanted the weird, the sex scene, but not really the sex scene. I got that as well. So it had some of those things in there. The slapstick. It was like a 90-minute dad joke, and I loved it for that. So for that, I'm going to give it a 3. Rewatchability. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I'd probably watch it one more time, but I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to seek out to do so. It would be like, hey, it's streaming, and there's nothing else I want to watch. Let's check this out. Now, I'm going to give this a bonus point. I'm going to give this 2 bonus points. I'm going to give this 1 for scratching that nostalgia itch that I have, and 1 comedy gold, okay? Because there was constant jokes. There was joke after joke. It didn't get old for me. No, that's me, not you. I liked that. However, I'm going to give this a penalty point as well. I do feel that there should have been some introduction to these kind of movies, because a lot of the younger crowd isn't going to know about the Naked Gun and even this type of comedy, because it hasn't come out in a long time. I mean, going around, I work at a movie theater, and going around talking to the frontline employees, they've never even heard of the Naked Gun. I'm granted this is before they're all born, so there's that as well. For that, I'm giving it a penalty point. So in total, this will be a 16 out of 25. I think that's probably about right. So with that, out of 16 out of 25, this is just going to be a quick launch. Go enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. Let's take a look at where I rank with everybody else. Do you want to talk about everybody else? Let's talk about IMDb, Metacritic, Letterboxd, and Rotten Tomatoes. With my 16 out of 25, IMDb does have this at a 7.1 out of 10. So I feel like I'm probably pretty close to that. The Metacritic and the Metascore, this is their critic score. That's going to be 75 out of 100. Again, I think I'm pretty close to that as well, with 47 critic reviews. And then a 7.1 out of 10 for the user score out of 48 reviews. Again, I think that's probably pretty close. I'm a little bit higher than average, but I'm not super high on there. And Letterboxd, it looks like I forgot to do that one, so we're going to skip it today. And on Tomato Meter, on Rotten Tomatoes, the Tomato Meter is a 90%. 90% of the people on Rotten Tomatoes, of the critics, love this movie. It's rated fresh. Okay, that one does surprise me. And the popcorn meter is at a 77%. That's the audience score. And I think, again, I'm more in line with that. All right, so we talked about the Naked Gun. I have been putting some stuff up on TikTok as well. I've been doing the lunch break reviews of certain things, a lot of comics, because I'm really reading comics right now, more than watching a lot of TV. And I haven't found any good shows I really want to do. I'll probably do Twisted Metal when I can get caught up on that. But I did a lunchbox review of X-Men Age of Revelation. You should go to my TikTok and check that out. I did it 23 out of 25. This is the start of a brand new thing. I'm even thinking about putting something together to follow this entire line. I might be crazy for doing it. I don't know if I'm going to have the time to do it, but I want to. So there it is, guys. We talked it through. We talked the Naked Gun. What's coming up? I got Exquisite Corpses number 2, number 3. I'm going to do a TikTok for. I'll release a TikTok for the lunch break review breakdown of this song, of this movie, and what else? I don't know. I'm going to try to get at least 2 or 3 things out this week. But that's it. That's it for today on this lunch break review episode. If you agree, disagree, or just want to shout about it, drop me a comment, tag me, or come grab a seat next to me at the lunch table. I'm always looking for new voices, so if you want to co-host an episode, pitch your pick and debate the score, my inbox is always open. Brian S. Dennis was on here last week. Don't forget to follow the podcast, leave a 5-star review, and if you're hungry for more, check me on TikTok and YouTube for quick hits using the lunch break point system. Until next time, pack smart, watch well, and I'll see you on the next lunch break. Bye-bye.